Welcome everybody to the game room. This is your boy Zonny the Greatest, and I'm here to review Echoes of the Fallen DLC expansion, first part of it for Final Fantasy 16. Now, there is a lot of things or controversy around this game in terms of it being the Final Fantasy game, I guess, that everybody wants it to be. This, as a newcomer, is my introduction to it, and I love it. I love the game entirely, and I've played FF7 Rebirth as well and Remake. So I want to extend my love for the game and continue reviewing the series because I did a review a while back, which I'm actually writing, or in the middle of writing, a retrospective video for Final Fantasy 16, which I will be posting whenever that is done. And this one, Echoes of the Fallen DLC, is the first half of it. There's another one called The Rising Tide, which I'll be playing through and getting B-roll for that as well for you guys. With that being said, I'm going to be breaking this down into a few sections: story, enemies, music, weapons and abilities, final thoughts. Those are going to be the things that I go through. I also made a brief post about this on X or Twitter. You guys can check that link down below. The story of Echoes of the Fallen was pretty interesting. I won't be spoiling anything, so no spoilers, spoiler-free review. But the story itself is very, I wouldn't say it's deep or anything. It is an extension of what the original story was, and kind of answering some unanswered questions. You get to see what happens, or what was done with some of that technology by the Fallen. You'll know who that is in the actual DLC. But there's definitely a hierarchy or more, or like a secret society of enemies that live, and you're basically going through this, I guess, like boss level type design type of area where you just kind of go up the ranks and get to the top. I wouldn't say it's that really deep or in depth. The events or things that you have to do leading up to it could give you some more insight again to the story and everything. I think the Rising Tide is going to tie everything together. But with that being said, I think that this one was more so just to highlight the next part of what I wanted to get into, is the enemies. But like overall, the story, it was nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy happened, but it definitely added more depth to what they were trying to portray. And like the thought of, okay, like, hey, we want freedom here to choose, and we got rid of this technology for a reason. So now we need to know why. We need to know why and how we can destroy this one too, because that's all Clive does, is destroy all this ancient tech or advanced tech in their world and all that good stuff. So with that being said, the story wasn't like bad or anything. It just wasn't as compelling as the original game, and it just didn't draw me in as much. Felt like I was just playing a boss rush, you know what I'm saying? Enemies, however, next part, the bosses and enemies were not too hard at all. The items collected, though, I will say this, made it much easier to tackle and much easier to play. The items that you collect in this game, I've got the different item names, but there's like 3 different items you get. One helps you with limit break, and the other one is the actual sword. It's actually a G. It's the actual swords you get from completing the DLC. And that one they're just powerful weapons, just powerful upgrades. Definitely a DLC where you like gonna want to play through and get all of those upgrades and things like that. But the enemies were harder, I think, and they actually were a bit more unique in this DLC than a lot of the ones that were actually in the game itself. And I actually enjoyed the aesthetic of the enemies. I like the purple and red auras and stuff that they got going on, and some of the little mini bosses that you fight were very cool and intricate to tackle those and use different combos with those guys. So yeah, I think the enemies were actually pretty well done in this DLC, like really good. Next up is the music. The music for this game is just everything. It's my favorite part. The music. I have a fully downloaded soundtrack of both of the DLC and the main game. Masayoshi is just very, very talented. His music immerses you in the game very, very well. 16 Bells is a great one. Find the Flame. The Way of the Mount, which is the DLC main theme, I think. The Written Water. It's really, I just remember these names, and I listen to these songs, and I just think like how these guys are playing these instruments, and how he's even composing these, and I just really appreciate when it comes to music. Final Fantasy seems like it has that down pack. Like, I love the music in games like Stellar Blade and stuff like that, and which I thought was another game that had great music score. But music score is very important to me, and the music in this game is just top notch, phenomenal. Final Fantasy 16 has great music. And I just give that's like the bread and butter to me. The Final Fantasy 16, when I think of Final Fantasy 16, I immediately think of robust music, or even soft tone music, or even just very like traveling music, like you're traveling through a battleground or something like that. It just depends on what area of the map you are in, which I think is a really cool part as well. Weapons and abilities. The few weapons and armor and abilities that you do get, which is the ones I was talking about earlier, are worth the trip, especially at the end. That the Omega weapon, the one I was talking about, is top tier, and the revivement is the one with the limit break. Is a very good lifesaver. I recommend that wholeheartedly. It, like, once you get to KO, it goes straight. It makes you go straight into limit break, so you don't get KO'd, and it helps. It helped me on that last boss, which I don't even think I want to play that last. But that last boss was hard. I will say that was an embodiment of Final Fantasy, in my opinion, and just the music in that final boss battle was just top notch. But yeah, the weapons and abilities do help so much. Take advantage of those things, because you're gonna need them, especially in the end. All right, my final thoughts. Now, nonetheless, we still had a fun time with this game, but to be critiqueful and without going into too much detail of every critique, this DLC was solid. It was a solid, good DLC. It just didn't bring anything groundbreaking or anything. Like, it was one of those things like, okay, this is cool, this is great, but it's like, it's not nothing that sets it off. Like, the whole game is Final Fantasy 16 just sets a bar. As Titan, when you're playing as your icon, man, going down that I don't even know what to call it, those cliffs or alleyway or whatever that was, going into that giant boss fight, that was like a sick fight. And of course, I don't want them to recreate anything like that, but it was just something hard to top. And I think for the DLC, it was very well done. 7 out of 10 DLC. Again, not too bad, not too good, but not too bad. Well, yeah, not too bad at all. 7 is a great score. What did you guys give the Echoes of the Fallen DLC? I'm interested to know what you guys gave it and what your metrics were. I'm excited for the Rising Tide. I feel it'll be way better than this. I might even give that one a 9 out of 10. But that was it for my review on the Echoes of the Fallen DLC. Let me know what you guys think, and we're gonna get on into some more game room content next time. Burst.